Hey, welcome back to Right on the Edge. My name is Derek, and dude, I saw this cool looking thing. The horror film that's so real, the FBI investigated it. Honestly, that's a great endorsement for that's a great endorsement for a movie, to be fair. But let's watch this video and see where it leads us. How about that?
you know, in the 80s, I was obsessed with tracking, you know, in the 80s,
Oh, it's
I
weird, wasn't
was
it?
obsessed with tracking down weird videos. Just weird videos
There
and
we go.
weird films we had seen. And one of the films that came to me was a movie called Guinea Pig. And I promptly made a copy of it. And the FBI said, you need to hand over the original tape.
That is Chris Gore, and the tape he's
That is wild. The FBI gave to his officer like, you need to show us this tape right now.
talking about contained a copy of a Japanese horror film from 1985. Back then, as the founder of the infamous Film Threat magazine, he was always on the lookout for the most obscure movies he could possibly find. And the way to do that was to tap into the
Film Threat magazine. Wow. So a subgenre of horror magazine. Man, there ain't a lot of stuff that I can I kind of say that I regret not experiencing, but magazine culture was really huge at one time, wasn't it?
somewhat underground world of VHS tape trading.
We were trading tapes with so many people, and then the thing is they would send me their weird tapes. That's how we did all of this.
Those tapes would often contain unauthorized
So like a snail mail like trading service, except for instead of Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh card Magic the Gathering cards, they would do it with tapes.
copies of movies from all around the world that were either extremely difficult to find or straight up banned in some countries. The kind of stuff you couldn't just find in your local Blockbuster. And
To get a movie banned anymore, it has to be exceptionally bad.
while the majority of the movies were just strange or bizarre, one of them felt different.
Ooh.
There was no music, no more than a basic title graphic, and not even the standard practice of opening credits. It almost felt like someone's private home video of a
To be fair, man, this would be a great way to do a horror film, I think.
man observing strangers in front of a train station in Tokyo until he eventually sees a young lady and proceeds to stalk her, slowly driving his car behind her, and as soon as they get far away from the busy streets of the city, he chases her down and abducts her. The rest of the movie takes place in
I can see why that would be considered creepy. Holy shit.
some creepy makeshift slaughterhouse, and since I cannot possibly show you what happens next, instead, I'll give you some context with, let's just say, dramatic reenactment.
Nice. Good job.
Oh, that's nasty.
Yeah, I agree. That's nasty.
Yeah, all of that happens, and it is shown in great detail with very intricate close ups right in your face.
I'm right there with you, man. I'm not a big fan of gore. I like the terrible monster movie sort of horror movies.
The point is, it looked real, so much so that people weren't entirely sure if it was actually fiction or something far more sinister. And one of those people was no other than the actor Charlie Sheen. There are a few different
Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen was like, wait a minute. Yeah, you shouldn't laugh, but that's crazy. What a crazy fucking thing. Like, who had this investigated? The FBI? The CIA? Like, who brought it to your attention? Charlie Sheen did.
accounts of exactly how it happened, but what we know for a fact is that Charlie Sheen saw this movie, and because of him, the FBI got involved.
Well, what happened was they
Wow.
took it very seriously. I'm like, I had all these videos confiscated. I had to be interviewed by the FBI about this video and where I obtained it. The guy who gave me the video got, investigated, and it was weird. All I did was just make a copy of a tape and give it to Charlie Sheen.
They weren't the only ones either. Around the same time, a lawyer in Sweden had found that exact same movie and had also reported it to the police. And over in Britain, a man entering the country with a copy of it had gotten arrested and taken to court because of its possession. Clear.
That is crazy. So this was happening in multiple countries.
Everyone took this extremely seriously. And looking back at it now, you might think it's a little bit silly, right?
I don't know. To be honest with you, the way it's set up and everything, it's not clear it's a movie. So, I'd worry.
Supposedly it's just a movie. But the thing is that those concerns were not entirely unwarranted. In his 1971 book about Charles Manson, author Ed Sanders included an interview with a member of his cult who claimed that they had once videotaped a murder they've committed. It is one of the first
See? There you go.
uses of the term snuff film, or basically a movie which shows real violence. And
okay, I was like, what's snuff? I actually never knew what that meant.
While no such video involving Charles Manson had ever been found, the urban legends began to spread. With consumer cameras becoming more widely available back in the 70s, people began to speculate that the possibility of someone capturing the real stuff was constantly increasing. And in 1976, after reading an article about it, a marketing-savvy film producer took advantage. He filmed a completely new ending to an unreleased low-budget movie he had the rights to, and in order to promote it, he hired fake protesters to demonstrate against it in theaters, and even reported it to the police himself.
Wow. Good job.
As soon as they saw it, people could easily tell it wasn't real, but it did make a profit, and more importantly, it brought the idea of snuff into the mainstream. Now, that one was clearly a hoax, but many of the other films that followed continued to push the limits and blur the lines. In 1978, a pseudo documentary called Faces of Death had featured a bunch of different ways to die. And while the majority of those were achieved with practical effects and makeup, there were some real ones too, that the filmmakers had taken from news archives.
Oh god, okay, I was like, what the fuck? Holy shit.
And old war footage. Although it got banned in a number of countries and heavily censored, it grossed over $35 million, and in some cases, it showed people real death on the big screen.
The end of the beginning,
Creepy.
or the beginning of the end.
Who knows?
I'll leave that decision to you.
Real gore and extreme graphic images were becoming a big debate in society, but the ethics of it were not necessarily the main concern for the authorities. For them, it was crucial to know about how that footage was obtained, because going back to Guinea Pig, the movie that Charlie Sheen had reported, it didn't just show a natural disaster or unfortunate accident, but a very premeditated and vicious crime.
Charlie was so shocked upon watching this film. He was so taken aback, he thought he had witnessed an actual murder.
But
that kind of shows how good the film was at doing what it was supposed to do.
By the time the FBI got involved, they quickly
I probably wouldn't do that anyway, but that's crazy.
found out that the authorities in Japan had also investigated, because a few years after its release, it got connected to a murder case that had completely shaken the country.
Holy shit.
In the late 80s, a 27-year-old man had taken the lives of 4 young girls in Tokyo in a way that I don't even want to describe. The police had found almost 6,000 videotapes in his room, and among the many slasher and snuff films was Guinea Pig.
So he was using this to feed his obsession.
Because of how brutal his crimes were, there was a huge public outrage, and many blamed this kind of movies for encouraging.
It probably didn't help any, but this guy already had problems. But this type of film probably didn't help any.
And inspiring him, and as a result, the movie was taken off the shelves. So with all the controversy surrounding it and multiple investigations from all around the world, the main question remains: was it snuff or fiction?
All this hellish, unhealthy, violent activity.
I wonder. I mean, I'm going to say it was probably snuff, but who knows?
Our kids are seeing this and thinking it's normal.
To find the answer, we need to go back to 1985. Around that time in Japan, the straight-to-video market had experienced a rapid growth. As a result of the increased popularity of VHS tapes that people could just play directly, smaller filmmakers were able to produce low-budget movies with almost no censorship and significantly less restrictions compared to theatrical releases. That allowed directors to push the boundaries a lot, and considering that horror as a genre was already huge in Japan, they certainly did.
That's kind of cool. That's a cool bit of history.
So, inspired by all this, a young producer would set on to create something that would push the envelope even further. And just like that, the Guinea Pig series was born. The first
That was a whole series.
one, Devil's Experiment, he directed himself, and a text in the beginning claimed that it is a real found footage.
They used the Blair White approach, or the Blair Witch Project approach. Good job.
No credits, no title, and nothing that would break the illusion. All that was shown was basically someone being tortured for 40 minutes straight, and the whole shtick about it being authentic worked. The movie did really well on the VHS rental market, so naturally, it was time for part 2, the one that Charlie Sheen had seen, Flower of Flesh and Blood. For this one, however, he got the help of the prominent manga artist Hideshi Hino. Sometimes referred to as the king of horror manga, Hideshi Hino had built a reputation for his deeply unsettling, grotesque, and borderline terrifying images.
Having seen some of this guy's work, yeah, that is not my cup of tea. But for people to like that stuff, worth looking into.
This was going to be his very first movie as a director, an entirely new creative medium to him that he wanted to bring a certain level of artistry to. He wanted to elevate it, so instead of it just being straight up gore, he incorporated a tiny bit of narrative. Something that might have gotten lost in translation, because in the very beginning, he lays out the premise that a crazy fan of his horror manga had gotten inspired from it and committed this heinous crime, and had sent him a package with photos, videos, and a letter describing it in great detail. But it was so graphic that he couldn't show it to us, so instead, what we're seeing is his own artistic interpretation. You can feel that there is a style in some of the editing, the colors, the cinematography, and even down to the over-the-top sound effects.
その後に何か見た人がだから、ただそれだけじゃない、それから先のね、何かをこうイマジネーションしてくれる。
Man, too much imagination for me. So if you guys are into that gore stuff, I mean, watch this. Apparently, it'll give you that buzz you're looking for. But for me, ugh, gross. Just gross.
As opposed to everyone else, Hideshi Hino had never claimed that what was shown was real, but he had done such a good job at making it look convincing that to some people, it was.
I mean, that's exceptional work. Then it worked.
A year later, the filmmakers released some behind-the-scenes footage and showed exactly how it was done. They've experimented with different techniques, materials, wire work, practical effects, and have created over 50 different body parts until they got it just right.
Good job. That's dedication.
It is genuinely a really good showcase of practical effects, if you're into that kind of stuff.
That's probably me.
Of course. The backlash surrounding it, though, had permanent consequences. In a 2009 interview with Vice, Hideshi Hino shared that because of everything that had happened, the production of his first feature film got cancelled, and it also affected his work as an
That's unfortunate.
artist. After talking to the police, he also claimed that what they had found in the serial killer's collection was not his, but a later installment in the Guinea Pig series. In the same interview with Vice, Hideshi Hino recalls a time in which a journalist asked a film critic if this sort of video is really necessary in the world, to which he replied, no, absolutely not. And it got me thinking, as I was...
That's kind of true, right? It's not necessary, but I don't think it's inherently bad either. The person that committed the crime, like the serial killer they're talking about, is likely already disturbed. He's a disturbed person.
Researching the story, I kept asking myself, what is it exactly that draws us into this kind of extreme horror? On one hand, you have people who are very much against it.
I think it's the suspense for me. Like, I enjoy the suspense in a horror movie. It's not that I think this stuff's good or whatever, but I like it's like a full experience of something that's not normal.
Because they argue that it could give us the wrong ideas, and there are some cases that support that claim. Remember Faces of Death, the pseudo-documentary that showed people dying? Well, in 1986, a 14-year-old boy killed his classmate and claimed that he got the idea for it precisely because he saw that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'd argue 15's probably too young to watch these type of movies too, but I'd also argue that Faces of Death, using real footage of people dying, is also kind of grotesque and disrespectful.
Movie. Whether that is an isolated case or a real issue, I'm not smart enough to say. I'm sure someone will have a better answer than me.
We don't know the extent to which exposure to this kind of material results in actual violent behavior. What we do know.
And with that, that'll be it for me on this one. Ooh, got a little chills going on, but clearly the guy did good work on his film. So that is shit, man, that's a horror film that was so good. The FBI and other countries, including Japan themselves, investigated it. If you like that, or if you'd like to see more on like random just bits of random history like this, let me know in the comment below. Like, subscribe, and have a great day.